What's up, everyone? Casey Bags here, and welcome to our latest episode of our Build in Public series, where I walk you through what we just accomplished this week with building out Sanctum. Now, if you're new to this channel or this content in general, Sanctum is an app that we're building for the tabletop roleplay game design industry. And what I mean is that it's an actual app to design your tabletop roleplay games. So basically, instead of using a notes app or sheets or whatever you're doing, that all goes out the window. That's like, ancient stuff that makes no sense whatsoever, and it has never made sense because tabletop roleplay games are modular by nature and very complex. And when you use a notes app, it forces you into a linear way of thinking that contradicts tabletop roleplay games. And so I have never wanted to design a game on a notes app. And so I built Sanctum, and I'm building Sanctum. And this series is all about what we've accomplished within the past week. Sometimes it's 2 weeks, sometimes it's more. And so that's what this is. I don't edit these. What you see is what you get. And you get insight onto like how I'm thinking and approaching things. So if you're new to Sanctum, all you need to know is that we don't use AI. There's not going to be a single AI feature here. We're not an AI company. We're a human-made company. Not interested in AI outside of all the data centers burning, down to the ground. So that's it. So this product is, we're in the process of building it. If you're interested in joining our wait list, that is open today. Just throw a comment on this video or hit me up in Discord or on our website here. If you go to the contact page, fill out this giant form, fill out as much information as you can. It gives me context. I'll respond. Like once you submit this, it will come to me directly, and I'll respond to you directly and get you all set up. So the goal is to hopefully get this launched into a private set of waitlist groups. So the people who have joined our waitlist, targeting specifically the Morkborg design community first. We are cult members, and we want to respect the cult and honor the cult, but want to also keep that beta group pretty private. Now, if you do Morkborg adjacent stuff like in the OSR realm, you'd also be a great candidate. Once we get those beta people in and know that they love the app, then we'll start opening it up broader and broader and broader to eventually a public release. And so hopefully that starts by the end of the year. Stay tuned to keep posted on that. So without further ado, let's talk about what we did this week. Like, I'm so stoked at where Sanctum is and what we're doing and what we're accomplishing week by week. So let's dive into it. Okay, so last week, or the last episode, we talked about how within this system, we kind of ran into this problem where, first and foremost, we're trying to solve something big already, which is an app devoted to designing tabletop roleplay games, from literally concept creation, which is this Spark file here. This is just a bunch of, this is your ideation framework of like when you're brainstorming an idea, just documenting that in a fluid and functional way to where you have this living document to keep referencing throughout the game. But also trying to create the module-based system that is already inherent in the tabletop roleplay game design, but make file-based systems that connect to each other and work with each other, so that way you could get it up to layout and printing. So that's the only thing Sanctum is not going to be doing. Think of Sanctum as your source of truth for like the source code of the game design. Whereas layout and print, like that's production, if you know what I mean. Has nothing to do with the game content itself. It's the outcome of the game content. Okay, so we ran into this issue because from day one, I've always known that I wanted to merge these two worlds of real version control, what we do on software development, which is where you have a little more complex stuff like branches and commits and pull requests and stuff like that. That's real version control, not this copy paste documents and stuff that we're having to do like in Notes app, but like having a documented history that you can reference of the entire file, different work streams that are scoped and safe, so that way multiple people or yourself as a single creator can have these different, we call them branches of essentially different work in progresses that are all asynchronous to each other and just get merged where they want in the timeline. That's one level of like way of doing things. It's snapshot driven. So essentially you're taking a snapshot of that moment in time and saving it to your branch that eventually gets merged into your main branch where it's this protected. So in theory, your main branch, that's what you send to print. That's where the people like working on the layout or editors and all that, they're living in the lane in the main branch. You're working in all these other branches around it. Okay, so that is Git level version control. That's snapshot based. But files, like with Word documents, what the industry is used to using in developing games, that's what we call draft based. So those two contradict each other because a draft base has no concept of Git level version control. And they're two completely separate archetypes. Like one is snapshotting. You'll notice like in our history, we have this little 7-digit, code. We call it a SHA. SHA, boy, from Texas. A SHA. SHA. And that's essentially like if we put all of the changes and encrypted them in a way, you could say it outputs a SHA. And that SHA is literally like a code base robot number of your work. And so whereas a draft, when you're working in a file, that is an actual snapshot of the document itself. Has nothing to do with creating a SHA or like Git commits and stuff like that. So those are two opposing views. They contradict each other on the software side. And the problem that I've had that we've figured out last video was how to overcome that. We have. And so this past couple weeks has been me updating the rest of the system file, what we're going to be looking at today. Out of all our groups, the Spark is the idea file. The system, of course, is the engine, the mechanics. That's what we're working on today. We've been updating the system file with all the different with all the sections to support this draft-based mode. And so we're going to look at that today. So let's go to, I think it's the open source game. I'm in Indie Collective. Let me double check. Is this right? Am I in the right branch? No, I'm in the main branch. My bad. So I have this, and this is the perfect thing to show real version control. It works. So I have in the feature system branch a bunch of different files, a bunch of different system files. And so we have a hack system, a local die set system, and a template system. Now let's dive in to see what those mean. Okay, so first and foremost, spoiler alert. I don't want you to see that. Hold on. Let me create a new file. Let's do it from scratch, local die system. Okay, so first and foremost, we see nothing changes here. We don't have any license. I have updated this to be a little more functional all around. So every change you see today, we've improved the functionality of it. So the phase that we're in now is, now that we have this framework for us to use, it's time to put it to the test and make sure the workflow is super functional. So that way you're moving as fast, if not faster, than using a Word document. And that sounds wild, but we've done it. And so, having said that, we're just fine-tuning things here and there. So system settings is now hooked up to our draft mode. You can see we've added a description here. So if you publish your file, this is what's going to be shown. So I'll just do like local stuff. Dude. I'm going to save that. This is going to be one of the only forms that has a button. So because we're on this draft-based mode now, we don't need buttons to submit anything. Like, it just happens automatically. We're doing it here because a file is a little more like controlling the name and the metadata of a file is a little bit more complex than, has nothing kind of to do with the draft state. So this is going to be one of the only settings forms we kind of want you to stop and realize, like, hey, this is a meta level thing. Same thing with delete. Like, if you see any delete stuff, we're going to say, hey, are you sure? Type of thing. Okay, so let's go to resolutions. This looks the same. Still today, we're only going to start out supporting dice. Because that's already a huge task to undertake. But once we release, we'll support cards, and then we'll support block towers. Okay, so this is our core resolution tool. I'm going to click that, and immediately it goes to this new view where we're kind of being onboarded into what all of this means. We know that we've selected dice. If I wanted to remove it, we're going to get this confirmation and letting us know. We're going to come back to that once we have stuff filled out. But we don't have anything. It says, hey, we need to choose our dice set. So let's do it. We now get this super functional sidebar, which I just love using this so much. You have two paths to use here. You could create your own custom set where you're essentially defining everything, or you could choose a popular set that's a template. And here I just have two. When we launch, there's going to be 10 of these. So I have a list and documented 10 of the most common templates regarding resolutions that are used. Notice we are intentionally not making these game specific. They're game agnostic. This is a standard polyhedral rollover set. It's not a D&D set. That's intentional. It's not a Morkborg set. This is the set those games use. They didn't create the standard polyhedral rollover set. They're the ones consuming that. And so that's very important to know that Sanctum on the mechanics side, it's not going to be branded stuff unless you publish a file as a game owner itself. So let's create a custom set. I'm feeling very, I love me some Swedish games. So let's do Roll Under. We're going to get a description of what that actually means. If you're someone newer to system design, kind of helping you out here, making sure you know the choice you want. So I could do step up. This is going to change. And notice with each time I do that, we're updating the status of the draft. So save to cloud. We know that it's saved. We've got the check mark. I'm going to go, we're back to roll under. That's what I want. And I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's so easy. I can do 500. Oops, I didn't want 10. Let me go down back to 1. Oops, I didn't want a D4. Oops, I didn't want a D20. Oops. We could just do this all day. And it's so functional and so easy. to use. And now we've created our set. We could get out of here, and that's essentially it. Now we have this view. I'm going to edit this because we don't have an identifier. I'm going to put a D20 because a D20 by nature in most polyhedral sets is what we call an identifier. That's the dice you're going to use to do checks and stuff. Now there's a way to edit that, but just to show a slightly different view of where we're going with this overview section, I'm going to put the D20 where we're going to assume is the identifier. And right now there's a placeholder, but now we see that we have a set. We have this analysis tab. We're not going to go there because that's what we're going to do. That's what I'm going to hook up next week. So nothing is in that tab yet because I need to refactor that one. But essentially, we're going to show a high level chart here of the probability for your identifier dice. And once we get that in here, what do you think this space is going to be down here? It's going to be a preview identifier chart. So that way, while you're altering this set, you're going to see a real-time update on how the bell curve changes for that set. Like, sick, so dope. Like tools that, like these tools that existed before to the next level. That's what we're doing with Sanctum. Okay, so we have the placeholder here because for me, this is just reminding me, hey, once we do the analysis stuff, be sure to drop in that analysis thing here too. And I just want to make sure I point out this note. We have analysis simulates digital dice only. I've made this comment before, and we even on our social post, just as a reminder, and I want to remind that on this level in Sanctum too, because I think a lot of people that use dice simulation tools like any dice or whatever, you forget that only, first and foremost, that's code based. So it's only going to refer mathematically to digital dice, which is why we have it here. Like, we're giving you probabilities, and you're going to be able to analyze your game on a level you've never been able to do before. But it's all regarding digital dice analysis. It's impossible to get real dice analysis of physical dice because everything matters because of physics. It's the dice shape. Does a dice have hard edges? Does it have soft edges? Is it small dice? Is it a heavy dice? Is it a light dice? Is it acrylic? Is it metal? Are you rolling on a smooth surface? Are you rolling on concrete? Are you rolling XYZ? All of those, change the physics of how it rolls, which means that mathematical probability, like regarding software, is never going to be accurate. And we just want to make sure that that's clear, and we want to educate designers to realize, like, hey, probability tools from like the web or any kind of software is not an accurate problem. Like, you're going to have to roll some dice yourself, and still that's biased to your environment and your set of dice. Anyways, here we have our options. We can edit this set now that it exists. Maybe I'm like, oh no, I want to do a step up and kill some D6 or whatever. All of that changes. Likewise, let's say you want to get super wacky and create a custom dice, which is a little wild. So let's kill everything except for, let me keep it D12. I'll make it easier. D12 and D20. I'm going to do something that probably should never be done, but one of our designers did this. You can still increment and decrement from this level for a single dice if you don't want to use the edit dice set. But I'm going to edit, and I'm going to change this to a 13-sided dice. I'm going to name it Whack Attack, because that's what this is, freaking Whack Attack. 13-sided dice. It's not going to be, why not? Let's make it our identifier. In the future here, you'll be able to do custom faces and stuff like that to use symbols on your dice. We just don't have that out of the gate for the beta release. So I'm going to update that. Now I have this whack attack, one whack attack die. And notice I have two identifiers. This should never happen in a system. Like you can only really have one identifier. So I'm going to edit that and turn it off. So that's it. So if you want to edit it, you could do all this all day. I can kill it here. You could do all the same stuff you could do here. So I can add all of this back. Do 1d20, go back to roll under, and everything's fine. We're back to normal. Okay, so that's local system stuff, and that's all your draft base. So notice how fast that was because we're now saving in the draft. Likewise, just remember we have history being saved in the background. So now we have these snapshots done on your behalf. And then whenever you feel like saving it yourself, you can always do Command S, of course. And we've saved that point in time that we could see right here. Okay, now let's see what these templates are all about. So I'm going to go into the template system. I'm going to hit dice. I'm going to create set. And let's say you already know, like, oh, I want to create a custom game, but I want to use like the common 2d6 pool or whatever. Boom. You click it and there you go. You have it. Easy. Easier setup than building a custom set. They're both just as easy. You could change them all you want. You could just keep going, back and forth between the different sets that you want. But I recommend, like, if you're definitely if you're starting out as a game designer, don't be afraid to, like, these templates are the way to go. We built them so you don't have to manage all this stuff. But likewise, when you're here, like, you can, manually update. You're not restricted to like the template. And notice it says inherited because at the end of the day, like, this is all Sanctum at its core is built off of plugins, you can say, but extensions. So notice that we just added, all we're doing under the hood with those templates is we're just adding those system file extensions. So you can see it says binaural, we create these system files specifically for dice sets. And we're just showing you as those options here. So this is kind of the same thing as the extensions. We're just scoping them to only dice sets. And so it's pretty dope. But that's all it is under the hood. So that's why it says inherited, which means that you could still change it. You could do whatever you want with any inherited content. You can always override it. And cool. I'm going to update that. And we can see the change. And oh no, I didn't mean to do that. Revert to original. And if you do something destructive, like remove it, and well, that was the only set. That was the only dice of the set. So let me go here. Let me remove the 2d6. Now notice, because I'm removing stuff of inherited content, we have this reset to original button. I'm going to click that, and now you have everything back in its original state that it was. So that is templates. And I think if we're toggling between these, maybe I need to clean, like if I do two, it looks like we cached two extensions. So what I need to do is figure out, how do we prevent, if you're going from one extension to another, how do we prevent overlapping dice extensions? But if this happens, it's pretty easy. You just choose whatever one. Like, I know I don't want the standard polyhedral at this time. So now I'm to that clean pointed state. It's pretty easy. It's all very easy. Nothing like destructive here. And likewise, let's go to the hack. Oh, let's go to local dice system. Back real quick. We forgot to show if you remove this, now that we have the whole resolution set up, we have a tool, the dice. We have a method, roll under method, and we have the dice itself, the dice items, which is the pool. We have essentially four different things that are all connected together. They're all pointed at the top to this dice core resolution tool is the parent to all of these, if you think of that. So this is how we're going to connect everything. So you notice we have all this information. If we go to edit, we see sides and description. There's a lot more information we have under the hood. And this is how, like, once we get into core rulebook files, you're going to be able to say, hey, I want to reference the dice, the standard D6 dice, and use the short name. The same thing with like formulas and rules. It's all going to connect together. So now you don't have to worry about consistency. Your editors are going to be a lot happier, and you're going to be able to test your actual game from top to bottom in our analysis section here. It's going to be pretty dope. But let's say that something odd happened. You're like, I just want to blow the world up and start from scratch. If you don't want to kill the file, maybe you have history, you can remove, and this is what we kind of peeked at before. This says this will remove everything associated with this resolution and will affect any references, and at your final warning, make sure you know what you're doing. We just want to let you know, like, hey, this is going to create a ripple effect if you don't understand that. And so once I do that, it clears the entire resolution state is reset. Because you've removed the tool. So by nature, if a tool doesn't exist, you can't have a method, you can't have an identifier, you can't have things in them. And so hopefully that shows you, we can add all of this back. We just go standard polycube, just super easy. But yeah, I'm so stoked about this. And now this is using draft state, so everything's just saving in the background. On the snapshot level, and of course anytime we make a change, so watch when I do increment, saving to cloud, all of that stuff. So like the workflow of this is so fast and so fun to use. It's going to be great. So the last thing to do, of course, we got to show off the hacks. And so instead, if you say, hey, I want to make a Borg hack or whatever, we're going to go to extensions. We have the Borg system by Stockholm Cartel. This fake, of course, we haven't released. We're going to add that, and look, we're licensed. We have our resolution. We see that it's inherited. We could do all the same stuff. We can override. We can reset. If we go to licenses, we have our Borg license already. It tells us what we can and can't do. It gives us access to the license because Johan was awesome and set all of this stuff up because he's a great user. So take note, Johan's not a user. I'm saying in the future, if you're a designer and you create licenses, you should provide lots of information because you'll get a great user experience for people using your licenses. Okay, so that's it. Pretty simple. If I don't want the extension, say psych. I have no license. I have no Whoa. What was that? Gotta fix that bug. I have no resolution. So that's it this week. Man, resolutions is such a big there is a lot of stuff going on here. And so I'm super stoked to be able to have updated and have improved the overview have improved it to be more functional all around. So I can't wait to do this analysis. And once we get to analysis, we'll hop back into templates where we have a much functional view of that as well. And then I think we might jump to rules and leave formulas for maybe a post beta release, since it's just formulas. But rules, that's where we could get into like flow charts and stuff that could be used for layout and things. So I'm really stoked about that. But that's it. What do you think about this? Are you a systems designer? Does this excite you to have these type of tools? Do you have ideas that you'd like to see us build on the system side? Let me know. Leave a comment. Please like the video, subscribe. It really helps us out in all the AI madness algorithms. And most importantly, support your indie tabletop roleplay game designers, support the indie design community. And I'm just so grateful for all of you. And thanks for watching this far. My name is Casey Baggs. Hit me up on the website, on Discord, on any of our socials. And that's it. Peace.